Hey everyone, I want to go over the different types of sand beds you could have in your tank and what size you should have. First I want to go over the three different types that normal people should have in their tanks if you want to go either sand bed or no sand bed. One is either go bare tank, which is no sand at all on the bottom, or if you want to have some sand but not a deep sand bed, you could have maybe like a ½ inch or less, just a coating pretty much of sand on your tank, which I have currently now. I didn't have it in the past, and I paid ultimate price regarding my corals, not my fish, but well, yeah, my fish too as well. I'll go over that in a little bit. And then your third option is having a deep sand bed, which is consistent of having about, I would say, 6 inches or more in your tank, and that's considered a deep sand bed. If you have anything in between, it's actually gonna cause some issues in your tank, prevent you having multiple corals in your tank, and only a selected amount of corals could go in here, like mushrooms such as I have in my tank, because of my phosphate levels. Believe it or not, I had about 2 inches of sand bed, about 2.5, some areas 3 inches, and my phosphates literally were 5.0. I mean, it was off the scale. And I ran 2 reactors for carbon, GFO. I did a whole bunch of things, and yet my phosphates were never depleting. I realized that I needed to take the sand out, and what I did is took about 20 pounds or so of sand out, and now I have about a ½ inch. And guess what? I did the testing, and I'm down to 0.16. Huge drop off. And in the meantime, I couldn't keep corals such as scolies or euphyllias like torch corals or hammer corals. They would just not survive, and they would be gone in a week. So it was really something that I couldn't have my tank. It's one, because I have a lot of fish. I overfeed my tank, and what happens is that all the extra food and comes detritus, and then the cycle begins on your sand bed with the denitrifying cycle, which is the ammonia to the nitrates and so on, and then it releases the nitrogen gas bubbles. So if you actually look at the side of your glass and you see the little bubbles in the sand, inside the sand, that's actually a nitrogen bubble it's going to release into your tank. That's just what the cycle's completing. The issue that I had was that it wasn't deep enough, and when you don't have deep enough, there's actually toxic gases in the sand that it stays on the bottom. So when you're cleaning your tank, whatever, you actually disturb that and release it in your tank. Also, if you have fish that are like gobies, I lost a lot of gobies in the past because the gobies were digging in the sand and releasing these toxic gases, and they're right there breathing it in, and really essentially burning off their gills in a sense, and causing them to have a hard time breathing and die from there. And unfortunately, if you want a sand bed, you really got to go those 3 ways. I mean, actually 2 ways if you want sand, or you could go the option without sand. So right now, I just got a torch coral that I literally just put it in the tank, and I'm going to see how that does over here. It's a gold torch from Australia. And with my phosphates dropping down, I just changed my media, so I expect the phosphates to really go down even more. Some mushrooms were so used to the high phosphates in my tank, they really are not reacting well to the drop, actually, because they're so used to high phosphates. But hopefully they're very hardy, and they will recover and get adjusted to the drop in phosphates. So, but the main thing here, and the main story behind all this, is that if you're gonna have a bunch of fish in your tank and you feed a lot, or if you want some nice end coral, even SBS, you really have to have no phosphates in your tank. And with the way where they had a 2-3 inch sand bed, really hinders of what you could put in your tank. And every time you just spend a lot of money in killing live coral, because you can't, if you have a 2-inch sand bed, or a 3-inch sand bed, or a 4-inch sand bed, it really doesn't do you any good in the long run. It may look nice that you have a nice little sand bed, but at the end of the day, a ½ inch sand bed looks just as good because it just covers the bottom. But if I put my finger in there, you'll see the bottom of my glass. But ever since I made the change in my tank, the phosphates dramatically dropped off, and just it's a test of to what is trapped in your sand bed. And I'd be honest with you, even with the 2-3 inch sand bed that I had, I used my siphon and pulled the sand and cleaned the sand out, and it was always pulling gunk out and really dirty up the water I was taking out of my tank every week, because I do weekly changes, 5 gallons, which is about maybe 10% of my tank. So all in all, if you're going to go with a sand bed, just make sure you're not in between. It's either ½ inch or less, a coating, or a deep sand bed, which, you know, a lot of people don't do because you really see a lot of sand on the glass. But if you're going to keep like a jawfish or a garden eel or something like that that needs sand, then you maybe go with that. But again, the cycle that the denitrifying bacteria cycle that goes through the tank really needs a big deep sand bed. If you don't have a deep sand bed with just a coating, you're not going to worry about that issue because it's not going to have that type of cycle. Just in the long run, you know, you want to, you know, have healthy fish, healthy coral in your tank, and you know, that's one step to help bring down your phosphates in your tank. If you do have phosphates and you notice that hey, listen, I have a sand bed that's pretty thick, not too thick, but around like I said, 2-3 inches, 4 inches, something like that. Hope this information helps you and my experience with that and the changes I had to make in my tank to accommodate and try to get, you know, other coral and even more gobies now in my tank because of the change that I have done. And I, you know, the proof's in the pudding. I, you know, from a test dramatically drop off in a week time after about a year of not having any drop off, or no matter what I did from my tank, really a test for about the sand bed. So I hope the information again helps you guys. I hope your tanks are doing well and thriving, and if you have any questions about my experience or anything I've done in the past, just let me know. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can, and happy reefing. For the I just got this in today, and it's still not doing well. It's the St. Thomas red mushroom here, really cool looking. Hard to see right now because the daylight's on, but let it settle in, and I'll show you my next update. Alright guys, have a good one. Last thing I wanted to let you know, I did get another spike fin goby, so I have actually 3, and I finally think I got a female because I think they paired up a pair of them, and they usually hang in underneath this rock here, but I see them in the morning. I actually see them very often now, all 3 actually, so, but that's just, I'll say that for the next update. Alright guys, have a good one.